Rudy's life is messy, and his girlfriend Haley is tired of him constantly zoning out. Rudy's Brazilian mother, Maria, has never liked Haley because she's white. Rudy has a habit of hearing music in everything around him. It's his way of escaping the real world. The sound of walking down subway steps becomes a piano melody to him. When he sits with Haley in a diner, he gets distracted by the noises of cooking and serving. This is one reason Haley feels Rudy doesn't care about her. Plus, he's always dividing his attention between her and his mother, making her feel even more ignored. Rudy is in his final year of school, but instead of focusing on his future, his life revolves around his two passions, puppets and music. These are things his girlfriend Haley just can't seem to understand. She feels like he's wasting his time and wants him to take life more seriously, especially since they plan to live together at university in just 6 weeks. Haley is worried because Rudy doesn't seem to have any plans to get a stable job or prepare for a real career. Rudy spends most of his time working on what Haley considers hobbies. He's always tinkering with his puppets or composing music, even late into the night. To make a little money, Rudy performs puppet shows in the subway, but it's barely enough to make a difference. Haley doesn't see how his current efforts are going to lead to anything meaningful, especially after being together for 4 years. Rudy's also working on his music thesis, but to Haley, it just doesn't seem like he's made enough progress. Rudy still lives at home with his mother, Maria, which at least means he always has a good meal waiting for him. But after the breakup with Haley, Rudy starts to realize he should get his life together. He tries to focus on his studies, but nothing seems to work. Maria, eager to see her son with someone of their heritage, decides to set Rudy up with a Brazilian girl named Luana. The setup is awkward, and Rudy feels embarrassed the whole time. Luana, on the other hand, is very forward and aggressive, but Rudy isn't interested. He tries to gently push her away, which causes Luana to storm off, telling Maria that Rudy needs help sorting out his life. One day, Maria sends Rudy out to buy some fish. While he's at the market, something unexpected happens. He spots Isabella, a Brazilian woman working at the fish stall. She has an air of freshness, like the warmth of spring after a long, cold winter. Rudy is instantly captivated by her, but just as he's staring at her in awe, someone accidentally hits him in the face with a fish, leaving him stunned and embarrassed in front of Isabella. Rudy returns to the fish market a few days later, hoping to see Isabella again. He offers to walk her to the market fair she had mentioned. During the walk, Rudy quickly realizes how different Isabella is from Haley. Instead of brushing off his quirky interests, Isabella is genuinely curious about the way Rudy sees the world. She listens as he explains how he finds rhythm in everyday sounds, the tap of shoes on the pavement, the rustling of the market stalls, the distant hum of conversation. Isabella is impressed and suggests that Rudy take his talent seriously and think about performing on a bigger stage. She encourages him to refine his show and make something out of it, rather than just keeping it as a hobby. Rudy feels a spark of motivation he hadn't felt in a long time. Back at school, Rudy starts to make an effort in class, especially when the topics involve music. Haley, who has been keeping an eye on him, notices that Rudy is participating more and seems a little more serious than before. Seeing this change, Haley approaches Rudy and tells him that she's willing to give their relationship another shot, leaving Rudy at a crossroads. Now, Rudy finds himself torn between two women. On one side is Haley, his girlfriend of 4 years, who now wants to make things work after breaking up with him. On the other side is Isabella, a fresh connection who understands Rudy on a deeper level due to their shared heritage. Isabella opens up to Rudy about her past, revealing that her mother left her when she was 15 to return to Brazil for a man. This vulnerability draws Rudy closer to her. Rudy turns to his friend Anwar, who runs a fast food truck, for advice. Anwar is always blunt and tells Rudy to pursue both women, insisting that he can figure it out later. One night, Rudy decides to take Isabella out on a date using his friend Anwar's food truck. But the evening takes a sudden turn when Rudy is grazed by a bullet in his arm during an unexpected altercation. Though the wound isn't serious, the experience brings Rudy and Isabella closer together. In the tense aftermath, they share a kiss, finally admitting how connected they feel to each other. Isabella shows a deep understanding of Rudy's unique quirks. Despite Rudy's deepening connection with Isabella, he somehow finds himself two-timing both her and Haley, by accident. While everything seems to be going great with Isabella, Rudy makes a big mistake when he agrees to have a meal with Haley at her house. The dinner is a disaster. Haley's parents, Bruce and Claire, make racist remarks and clearly don't think Rudy is right for their daughter. Feeling trapped, Rudy decides to break things off with Haley once and for all. He asks her to meet him at a Brazilian restaurant in his neighborhood, thinking it would be a fitting place to end things. However, in a twist of fate, Isabella happens to be at the same restaurant, picking up takeout. This doesn't shake Rudy's indecision, and instead of handling the situation, he ends up trying to juggle both relationships. In the end, things spiral out of control. Rudy's mother shows up at the restaurant, and suddenly he's surrounded by Haley, Isabella, and Maria. The pressure becomes too much, and Rudy explodes, confessing to Haley that he wanted to meet her there to break up with her because he had found another woman. Unfortunately for him, this honesty backfires. Isabella, overhearing the confession, decides she wants nothing to do with the situation and walks out, leaving Rudy alone, having lost both women. After a night of heavy drinking, Rudy wakes up feeling like his life is spiraling into a repetitive mess. In a drunken haze, he hallucinates, seeing his daily routines as empty cycles. His mother, Maria, noticing his turmoil, tries to knock some sense into him. She sits him down and asks what he truly wants out of life. Rudy hesitates but eventually lists a few things: to be happy, to spend more time with his mother, to work on his puppets and music, and, most importantly, to be with Isabella. In his dream, Isabella appeared as his savior, the one thing that seemed to bring him clarity and hope. Feeling guilty for how things ended with Isabella, Rudy decides to write her a song as an apology. He pours his feelings into the music, hoping it will be enough to win her back. But when he plays the song for Isabella, her reaction isn't what he expected. Instead of accepting the song, she tells him to stop hiding behind his music and talk to her like a real adult. Isabella points out that Rudy has been trying to hold on to something, but he doesn't even know if it's what he truly wants. She's tired of having her feelings ignored and tells Rudy that a song won't fix the hurt she's been left with. His apology falls flat, and Rudy realizes that he still has a lot to figure out about himself and what he wants in life. When it's time for Rudy to submit his thesis, he decides to take a bold step. Instead of handing in a traditional music thesis, he turns it into a script titled Musica, inspired by his own life. The script blends his love for music and puppetry, telling his story through comedy and reflection. Rudy finally takes his talent above ground and stages a puppet comedy show, recreating moments from his life. The show is filled with music, laughter, and the chaos that defined his journey. The audience loves it, and Rudy's performance becomes a hit, allowing him to feel a sense of accomplishment and pride. After the show, Rudy receives a takeout meal with a small but familiar detail. There's a smiley face drawn on the cover, just like the one Isabella had drawn for him after the incident at the fish market. The gesture reminds him of her warmth and the connection they once shared, leaving Rudy with a sense of hope as he moves forward in life. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.